Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Caden Cleveland here at the Oklahoma Senate, and you're joining us here for the second episode of OK Senate on Deck with Senator Greg Treat. We're going to be talking about a few different things today. What do you have in mind?
Well, I had an interim study recently on the Legislative Budget Office, potentially creating that. And we have a lot of new faces at the Capitol, so I want to talk about the incoming freshmen, what to expect, and some of my experiences.
I love it. I love it. Okay, well, hang tight with us, guys, and we'll jump right on. Everybody, welcome back. As I mentioned before, we're here with Senator Greg Treat for OK Senate on Deck. So, Senator Treat, one of the things that just happened recently is you requested an interim study to be heard in front of the Rules Committee, correct? And now, this study, can you tell us a little bit about that and what was the importance of it?
I'm sure everyone out there listened to it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
The Legislative Budget Office is an idea that has been talked about for 20 plus years out at the state capitol. But a lot of times we have to make decisions based on what agencies tell us is in their budget. And we have no way in the legislature to verify whether those numbers are accurate, whether the programs that we're investing in are actually getting the results that we want them to have, other than what the agencies tell us or what lobbying groups tell us. So in order to better represent people of Oklahoma, have more transparency, we've thought about creating a legislative budget office between the House and the Senate that can dig into those numbers, dig into those programs. Are we getting our best bang for the buck?
Gotcha.
And so we had people from New Mexico, someone from Indiana, someone from Colorado, and actually somebody from New Zealand. They may be at George Mason now, but we had a worldwide group of people. Excellent testimony, very beneficial. Heard a lot of good feedback from my colleagues, and we've already got legislative staff working on the language from feedback from that. We've got some people investigating what Mississippi does in the peer review committee. New Mexico was a great example. So I'm excited. I think we're going to have a lot of action on this early on in session. And the speaker and I have been talking about it all interim.
Awesome. So one of the words you used there was transparency. Now, this seems to be a word that we in the Senate, or you specifically, have been tossing around quite a bit. This is along the same lines of opening up the doors to allowing the people outside the Capitol building to really see what's going on here at the Senate?
Not only just to see what's going on, but they may have input. They may see something we're doing. They may see something we do through this Legislative Budget Office that when we welcome their input. So it's a two-way street, transparency for them to be able to see in, but also to give input on how we can do our jobs better.
That's one of the things that I was kind of most excited about with this idea of the Legislative Budget Office was the openness of ideas, I guess, from both directions, and the fact that that the legislators, the senators, and the House members would have a little bit more in-depth information to which they make decisions on. Is that pretty much what you envision?
Absolutely. We want to make better informed decisions based on real data, based on real outcomes, and not just anecdotal information, and not just someone advocating one way or another an issue.
So for some of you that may not know, the way the system works right now is essentially the agency does a lot of the information gathering and then just transfers it on to the Senate, correct?
Correct. And they are the experts. So I'm not discounting.
Absolutely.
They're the ones that are actually implementing these programs. They're the ones that actually day-to-day see it. So I don't want to discount their input, but I also want to have objective data that we can make decisions on. Working with the agency information and our own information to make the best judgment. I've always found that if you have 2 or 3 streams of information coming to you, you make a much more informed decision than if you just have one perspective.
Agreed, and it also adds that level of accountability for the both the Senate and the House members and the agency. So it's
we can start to judge long term, assuming we get this done, which I think we will. We can start saying, hey, this agency is excellent at predicting what legislation is going to cost long term, what the impact. This agency needs some help. So we can put our resources where we need to maximize the impact that Oklahomans expect us to have.
Awesome. That's really exciting. It sounds like it's going to be something that the Senate's going to be focusing on quite a bit.
I think the House, too. This is not just a unilateral deal. The House and the Senate are both working in concert on this.
Which is always good to hear, both House and Senate working together on stuff. So that's great. So kind of changing gears for you real quick, unless you had something else to add on.
No, that's good.
Very awesome. Question for you. Now, we just finished up our latest election. So we're going to be seeing quite a bit new faces here at the Capitol, a few here in the Senate. What is done here in the Senate to make those new members, make sure that they're up to date on everything, make sure they're involved on everything? What does that process look like?
So I was elected in a special election in 2011. So I never have actually been through orientation. I don't know exactly what to expect. I have partaken of the orientation from the other side of telling people what the floor procedure is and all of that. We're going to try to expand it under my pro tempship. I really believe that one of the most important things we do is get people acclimated to the process. It's not a political deal. Democrats and Republicans both need to be able to serve their constituents well. And so we're creating a mentorship program that seeks to get these people accustomed to it, someone safe to ask questions of, that they don't think it's a dumb question in public. Also, we're trying to make our orientation program more robust. We've been working with the nonpartisan staff here, along with the Pro Tem's office, to make that more robust, to teach them the rules of the Senate, decorum, the unwritten rules of the Senate, and just basic things of who do you go to ask this or that question.
So you mentioned the mentorship program. Is that something that new senators will actually be partnering up with current sitting senators, or how's that process going?
Absolutely. So heretofore, they may have had it a long time ago, but since I've been in the Senate, we haven't had a mentorship program. And some of the newer members came to me and said, it really would be nice to have a mentorship program. So I asked a couple of them to put proposals together, work with my staff, work with me to flesh it out. This is the first iteration, so we're going to improve as we go. But we're going to, assign a member who's been here a few years to a brand new member. And I've actually been working with Senator Floyd, too, to try to share some of the information that we're doing in the Republican caucus on that, so she can implement whatever she wants on the Democratic side as well.
That's great to hear, because Senator Floyd, who's the minority leader, correct? That's great to hear that you and her are working so closely on mentoring these new members. And you talk about mentoring. Really, it's even more important to implement something like that when we here in Oklahoma have term limits, and you're constantly on a state of education for new members, don't you think?
You are, and we can learn. The mentor may learn something from the mentee, a new perspective that they have lost since they've been here for years. So it's going to be, again, a two-way street, as I talked about on transparency earlier. A two-way street on this, developing relationships. We're not going to force people together that may not naturally go together. We're going to try to match people who actually we think fit well together. And broaden their friendships within the Senate, broaden their friendships across the rotunda in the House, and make sure that especially in the compressed time they're here, the 12 years or many of them shorter than that, that they're able to be the most effective for their district they can be.
Oh, that's great. That's great. That's great to hear. We definitely have a few new senators coming in here, and so if we're about running out of time, but do you have anything else to add before we sign off?
No, I'm extremely excited about this next session.
Awesome.
I think we have huge potential to do big things for Oklahoma, to restore trust on a number of levels, and I look forward to talking about that in future podcasts.
And that seems like something moving into session. The feeling of it is a little more optimistic this year than maybe in the more recent years. Is that kind of what you're feeling like?
I think so. I'm a eternal optimist. I'd rather be optimistic and wrong than pessimistic and right. So, but I think there's a new sense of possibility of a fresh start in some ways, and of just actually getting some things done. We made a lot of tough choices over the last few sessions that have put us in a position to where we can be proactive rather than reactive. And I'm personally extremely excited about it.
Gotcha. Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us this week. I hope you were able to learn a little bit about Senator Treat's interim study that he requested just a few weeks ago over the Legislative Budget Office, and kind of the possibilities of that, I think. I'm really
and you can find the materials on oksenate.gov as well, www.oksenate.gov. No one ever uses the www, so I wanted to throw that out again.
But it's there. You can, throw it.
oksenate.gov. Look at it. All the materials that we looked at are there. Give us information.
That's right. Feel free to take a look on our website. All the information from the interim study is there, as Senator Treat said. And you can definitely email us, treat@oksenate, if you ever have any input on
.gov. .gov.
treat@oksenate.gov. That's very important. Not .com. So thank you guys again for joining us this week. And I guess we'll see you next week. Bye, guys.
Thank you.